Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm of course your host, the Droodles, Blitz, and in today's video we are doing an in-depth tutorial video on how to play reverse German heavies. Now, what are reverse Germans? These are the rear-turreted German super heavies. We obviously have tanks like the E100, which is a front-mounted turret, big old box, but we also have tanks like the VK72, the Maus, the VK90, all tier 10 super heavies with their turrets mounted on the back. It creates a very weird playstyle if you do not understand how to play it, and that's why in today's video we're going to be playing in each of these tanks talking about their playstyle. We're going to start off with by far the weirdest and furthest away playstyle, the VK72. The VK has incredible frontal armor. Its lower plate is around 280 millimeters thick, meaning that almost no standard ammunition can actually penetrate it. However, the sides of the tank are incredibly weak. You got this little cutout in the back that is very easily penetrated, and it just rips apart the tank if you expose it, especially with premium shells. So that is the very big weak spot on the VK72. It is still a rear-turreted German super heavy, but it's the only one you cannot side scrape with. It's very weird because of that. In fact, we're going to break into the armor profile while waiting the load in the battle, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Lower plate, as I said, is around 280, 270 thick, very, very strong. You'll get a lot of bounces there unless people start loading premium. But if you try to side scrape in this vehicle, the moment you do, you can see that little side becomes incredibly weak and almost anything can penetrate it, especially if heat shells are loaded. So with the VK72, it's much better to show your front at a very steep angle, hide your weak spots on the side, and then poke your opponents. Now here we are in a battle, 4 seconds to go, so this should be perfect. What does the enemy team have? They got an E100, they have an E4, and that's really all they got for somewhat heavily armored vehicles. I mean, the E100 is obviously heavy, but E4 I'd count as a pseudo. They do have a lot of mobile tanks, so they have a 62A, they have a Sheridan, and a Progetto 65. We have a lot of mobile tanks as well, though, as you can see. So this is going to be a fairly interesting battle. Now, the good news is that this tank's armor does extremely well frontally against mediums, because they have a very poor amount of pen, and as we know, heavies are usually the guys that carry a lot more pen than mediums. So a vehicle like the VK72 does a fairly decent job when it comes to its frontal armor against bouncing mediums. We got the Progetto off to the side, who I would really like to get a shell into, but I'm not sure if this Progetto is just going to sit there. I think he might start backing up. We're going to find out in a moment here, because I'm going to be pushing fairly aggressive. Why? Well, this tank with tungsten and an HE shell is one of the nastiest things you can ever run into. There you go, 1,051 damage right into that Progetto. That's what I'm talking about, and there you go, guy is taken out. Now, we did get a bounce from either the E4 or the 268 sitting in the back of the map. But, yeah, this battle's over already. We're going to do another battle in the VK72 after this because, let's be real, this game didn't showcase anything about the tank. Everybody fell apart incredibly fast. Let's aim in a shell, though, on that 268. Oof. That is one of the downsides of big old German guns, is their accuracy is not amazing. We aimed at the lower plate, and I think it probably ricocheted off of the upper plate, but not much you can do about it. The good news about a vehicle like the VK72 is you got so many hit points, it doesn't really matter if you get hit once or twice, because you can just continue to weather on the storm. There you go. Nice HE into the enemy FV4005 for our second shell of this battle. Now we're going to push over towards this object. 268. We got 8 more seconds left on our reload, and the 268 is a running. Let us use that okay power to weight ratio. Try to get to his rear. Here we go. And fire. Ooh, that's another big ol' slap into that tank. Another perfect example of this tank doing its job. Now, we're probably not going to do anything crazy in this battle in terms of damage. At most, I would say 3k if this 268 is able to finish off the boss shotgun, but that does not seem to be the case. Yeah, there you go. Not a bad game, though, at all, though. We were able to deal around 2,700, and for how quick that battle was, we did our job. Now, there is one thing I do want to point out about the higher caliber guns like this VK72, is that you do got really nice HE, and we showcased that HE in this game. We penetrated 3 high explosive shells, a 960 onto the rear of that 268, a 1,000 onto the Progetto using my tungsten shells for that increased alpha, and as well we got a 700 onto the enemy FV4005. That is where a vehicle like this tank feels very strong. Is sure, you might not have a lot of DPM, but if you can make use of your incredibly high HE damage and penetration, it doesn't really matter if your DPM is on the poorer side. But at the same time, you do got to be careful, because against mediums, only having around 2,200 DPM in this vehicle can very quickly get you eaten up, because a medium that has 35 or 3,400 DPM has like 1,200 more than you, which is quite a bit more. So you got to be careful when you drive a tank like this where you're positioning it. That is one of the most important things for all German super heavies, is the positioning. Now, I'm just trying to see what my team's doing in this situation, and judging that only the 60 TP wants to go that way, I'm going to stick with the rest of the team. You need to have a team support you. This is the main rule in any super heavy, is you need to have a team with you. Sure, you might have a lot of armor, you might have a big alpha, you might have a lot of hit points. That means nothing if you're the only tank against 5, because you are incredibly slow and your sides are very weak. So you got to keep that in mind whenever you drive a vehicle like this, is where you're positioning it. Now that was just a lucky shot. There's no skill in that. That was just luck. But looks like we got our luck handed right back to us, as that E100 shot us right over the ridge. Oh well, not much I can do about that. What I can do is continue driving up this way. Hopefully our Toon 5B is going to hold off that enemy T-57 heavy, and I'm going to be able to drive over towards this side and get some shells into the enemy team. So that's exactly what we're going to try and do here. There's the E100 right in the front line, and I'm pushing with my 57 heavy over here as well. Now I'm pretty sure that E100 did fire, which means we should be able to go right, aim out his lower plate, and boom! There you go. That is tungsten shells doing its job there. A big old slap for 740 damage. And now all we're going to do is hide my lower plate. When it comes to a vehicle like the VK72, your lower plate is your weak spot. If you can hide it, you are completely fine. We are going to load an HE shell onto the C100. Actually, that really low rolled. I was expecting it to deal a bit more damage than 180, but oh well, that's just how Blitz is sometimes. Hopefully our 57 heavy is going to penetrate these shells. If not, this is going to be a pain, but this E100 does need to be cleared. So that's exactly what we're going to do first, is load an HE, finish off the enemy E100, and now we're going to push towards this 57 heavy. Now, in front of you is a good example of my traverse speed not being amazing. You got to be very careful when using this tank and its traverse speed, because it's going to fall apart very fast. Now, I do want to ram that IS-4, but I also don't want to be buttered by like this waffle off to the side. So there you go. Nice bounce from the waffle, which I will take, because at least if we're going to lose a lot of health, we don't lose it from everybody on their team. And then this 57 heavy is, I was going to say hopefully going to clip this guy, but it looks like he did not get that pen out, and our teammate bounced the other. But good news is we still got our alpha, and we're able to use it. So we've been able to use our hit points this game, we've been able to use a bit of our armor, and now I'm going to push over towards this 2 and 5B. This is an example where I'm going to stick out my frontal plate, and hopefully if the enemy does shoot at me, they're going to bounce it. We got this 2 and 5B, and boom, nice shot right into his turret for 520. That just brought us up to 3,500 damage in this game. And again, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to keep my frontal plate angled, and if this 2 and 5B tries aiming at it, this is exactly where we're going to get that bounce, as you can see. So let's aim in on this 2 and 5B. Let's just load an HE shell. There you go. HE did the trick. Let's angle towards this waffle again. If the waffle does decide to try and penetrate my frontal plate, we should do a pretty decent job of bouncing it. We've already done our job this game, though, on damage and everything on that aspect. So in this final moment here, I am not going to angle the tank, just going to stay directly centered towards the waffle, get the penetrating shell. And there you have it. Not a bad game at all. We were able to do our job, get some bounces. When you are being aimed at by any tank that you know can pen you, do not try to angle the VK72. Just take the shell and just make sure that they're going to penetrate a premium shell on you, because you will have a much higher chance. Oh, we got ripped off there. But you have a much higher chance of taking less damage if the enemy shoots heat at you than if they were to just try and shoot your weak spot, because that obviously makes sense. So let's push over towards this FE2 and 5B 183. Not sure if we're going to be able to shoot him. I think we should be able to here. This 183 will shoot our FE2 and 5B if he pokes. So this is a perfect example for me to get a nice tap into that 183 for 520 damage. And there you have it, an actual solid game for the VK72. Tungsten definitely helped us out there on getting a big ol' 740 shot into that E100 in the beginning. You can see we blocked 3,300. The armor doing its job. This was a perfect battle to showcase how you should use this tank. You'll notice I almost never tried to showcase my sides unless I had to, and when I did show my sides, I got absolutely buttered. The 57 got 800 damage into me, the waffle got a shell into me previously, but because I have a lot of hit points, it's not too bad. So the VK72 is a very powerful tank, and if you use it correctly, it can get big damage games out like this, but most games kind of think of it as the first battle, where your team might just steamroll right at the beginning, and you're going to have a very hard time getting damage out. Or if the enemy team steamrolls at the beginning, well, it's going to be the opposite, and you're not going to get any damage out because your team falls apart. Now let's make our way to the biggest and heaviest tank in World of Tanks Blitz, the Maus, weighing in at 188 tons. It's really good for ramming. In fact, that's where you get a lot of your damage from. Most of the time is just slightly ramming other tier 10 heavies for 100 or 200 hit points a pop. It really does actually add up to the damage total. But the thing about the Maus is that its armor is good and bad. While it may have a lot of weight going for it, its armor doesn't really translate all too well. If we load heat shells with calibrated, from example a Kron, you can see the upper plate is all a pretty easy penetration. It's around 340 thick. The turret cheeks are only around 270. Even the lower plate's a pretty big weak spot. So when you use a Maus, you really want to use your side armor. That is your strongest part. You can see even at an angle like this, your sides are around 440 thick. So you want to hide your frontal plate, only showcase your sides, and that's when you're going to do fine. Then once the enemy tries shooting you, they bounce you, you poke, you snap them for 460, and you go back to side scraping. The Maus has got a lot of hit points. It's got 3,000, and it's also got a pretty beefy alpha. A lot of people don't really think the Maus has a big gun because the U100 and VK72 exist, but 460 alpha is the same as an IS-7. That's enough to definitely put a hurt on your opponents. So if you use the tank right, and you use the not great DPM, but pretty average, plus the ramming capabilities and the massive amount of hit points you have, the Maus can definitely become an incredibly influential tank. It's actually got one of the highest average win rates in tier 10. So what does their team have? They got a 60 TP, a Chieftain Mark 6, and ooh, they got a 200 and a Progetto. Here's the problem with the Maus. Very slow. It's got a good power to weight. As you can see, we're already going up to our top speed, but a very slow vehicle in general, which means that if we went across, oh, it's very, very nasty, especially because they got a Progetto, T100, a grill, a 263. It's very possible I lose half of my health trying to cross here. This is just something I always get scared about on naval. But we have made it so far. We are detected, but you can see I'm angling my turret there, but we still got penned right into our side armor. But only one shell, so nothing terrible, and we were able to do okay in this situation. We got the Mark 6 over here, just taking a bit of a blind shot at him, and keep on moving up. All right, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nice, there's more bounces, look at that. The Maus doing its job, distracting, and our T100 is just YOLOing in, which is actually working pretty well, because the T100 is causing a massive distraction on their team. This Mark 6 does not know what to do, and that is completely fine with me. There you go. There goes one tank already. We got the grill off to the side, and I'm just going to push straight onto this Mark 6. Here we go. This is where the Maus is just such a great tank, is stopping the enemy from doing anything. So we do have the grill, but in this situation, we're fine. We're going to get one shell right into the rear of that Mark 6, finish him off, and now continue pushing on to the grill. Here we go, 5 more seconds left and we will have another shell ready for this tank. Now our T100 actually did a pretty solid job. I'll give the guy credit, he pushed with the team, and because he was able to cause such a big distraction, we were just able to drive right through without even caring. So now we got the E4, the Progetto, and the Object 263 all kind of clumped up together. We're going to try and push in, but we are, as you know, quite slow on our overall power to weight. Well, not power to weight, but just acceleration. Oh, I did not realize that 263 was right there. I was like, what? So there's a nice shell into the 263. I'll take that damage, and let's keep on pushing up. Nice shot, E5. Let's just keep on driving. If I get shot by the Progetto, really doesn't matter to me, because we got so many hit points. This Progetto, again, just struggling to aim on me. Let's give him a little love tap. There you go. That's 308 damage. As I said, this tank's just so good for getting that little bit of extra ramming damage, and we're able to use then our 460 alpha and finish off the Progetto. So that was an incredibly easy game, where the Maus just drove, and we were able to break 3,000 damage with a little bit of a ram there, plus the damage you're able to do, block 2,200. That's just the Maus being a Maus, and this is why it is such an influential tank. Now, I'm going to do one more battle in it, because that was just a weird game. I didn't really get to side scrape in it, but you really don't side scrape in every situation with this tank because it's got so many hit points. You just drive. That's the ultimate Maus playstyle, is drive and win. You are supposed to take shots for your team. You've got enough hit points, you got enough alpha to do it as well, so it's just a great tank to overall take a lot of shots for your teammates. But be careful, because the Maus is a large tank, and its sides, just to show you as an example, are very weak. They are incredibly weak, only 185 thick. So anything that aims at your sides is obviously going to pen them. Got to keep that in mind when driving this vehicle. Now we are on possibly the worst map for a mouse. This is Dead Rail. Dead Rail is a map that is all centered around gun depression heavies, where you work mid, use your gun depression, and you can do a pretty decent job. Unfortunately, we do have a 50B as well as another heavy, and they get a Super Conqueror and an M6 Yo. Ooh boy, that's a little unfair, isn't it? Either way, we're going to see what I can do. Oh boy, what is our 4005 doing? What is he? Okay. Can't guarantee that every battle today is going to be a win, as this is all back-to-back live gameplay, and when you have players like this 4005 doing that, yeah, it can be a little bit sketchy. But what we're going to try and do right now is very risky, but if we can get there, you can see my team is doing a bit of cover fire. We just need to get into this position, and here we are. Nice. Okay, so the 50B, as you can see, is capturing base B. Hopefully that Super Conch doesn't hit us. Nice, okay. So let's push on to this AMX 50B. Let's see if we can get a penetration. Nope, but that's all fine. We're just going to put on our adrenaline, and, well, we did get penned once, but we just got to side scrape, angle, wiggle the tank, and here we go. Let's get a nice, ooh, non-penning HE. I was really expecting that one to pen. That was a pretty easy shot, but that's just how sometimes it do be. So let's just poke this. Here's the 50B. Hello, good sir. That will be a penetrating HE shell. When it comes to a vehicle like the Maus, you got some incredibly strong high explosive ammunition, and if you can use it correctly, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. So in this situation, we've already managed to get base B, and as well, the AMX is now completely stuck in the open. Can't really move, so that's great. We did get hit by their tank destroyer, but it doesn't really matter because we've been able to position our tank correctly. Can't HE the go, but works. We were able to clear him anyway. Is our 4005, how is our 4005 still alive? That's actually incredible to me. But there you go. There goes the enemy AMX 50B. We do have the Super Conqueror off to the side. Honestly, I could care less if I get hit by a tank destroyer. We still have 2,000 hit points left on our vehicle, and I want to get some damage out. So let's push up a bit. Let's see if we can get another shell into this Super Conch. Here we go. Using speed. Oh, there's the 4005. Wow, they're all flexing over here. Well, there's a nice shell into the 4005, and that Super Conch is going to be absolutely butchered in a moment here. Alright, 5 more seconds left before we get another shell ready to rumble in this tank. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and fire. Oh, we got ripped off there. Hit the track wheel, did not penetrate his tank. Oh well. That is obviously how just RNG can work sometimes in this game. Let's aim an HE shell, and I shouldn't have fired. I mean, I should have fired, but I kind of wanted to hold my shot, but it's all good, because we still got the shell out, and all that's left is the Waffenträger, which we know is sitting in the corner. 5 more seconds left, and we will have a shell ready. So let's push right over here. This should be a pretty good position. The waffle will be spotted in just a moment. There you go, and fire. Nice shot into the waffle, and with that, we were able to deal 2,738 damage. Nothing insane, but these are super heavies. You don't expect to deal 4,000 average damage, 3,500 in your super heavies. I would say 3,000 is pretty dang good for any top player up there. And there you go. Not a bad battle at all. Able to do our job, come out with a victory. And that game was a very good example to showcase where I drove my tank. I knew that on a map like Dead Rail, you can't use the hull down spots. That's common sense. So I had to drive it into base B, which is flat ground. I was able to completely counter that 50B. I was able to stop the Yo from pushing up at that point, stop the Super Conqueror from doing whatever the heck he was doing. Pushing to B in Super Heavies is a very solid spot. Anywhere around town is a decent spot, as long as you be careful, because as you did notice, tank destroyers can rip you apart, and they had 3 of them, all with very big alpha, so that could have been very different for me if their tank destroyers worked together to clear me, but thankfully they did not. Moving on from the Maus, we make our way to the VK90. Now, I would currently say that the VK90 is the best German super heavy in the game, and that's because it has very little weaknesses and some great advantages going for it. First of all, the gun. 289 millimeters of pen is enough to butter through any standard armor easily. It's got great premium pen as well at 340 on the APCR. Its DPM is pretty average at 2400, but enough to get the job done. When it comes to the alpha, pretty beefy at 460, and its dispersion and aiming time aren't bad either. It's quite mobile, 30 kilometers per hour, 15 in reverse with a power to weight ratio of 13. It's just you're a mouse with more mobility, better turret armor, and I mean, I can show that when we take a look at the armor profile. This is the VK90 armor. You can see that upper plate, unlike the mouses, even on flat ground, is not penetrable with heat shells. Its side scraping capabilities are great, 500 millimeters at this angle, plus this tank has 10 degrees of gun depression if you use it off to the side, which is just another amazing advantage. As well, that turret, its cheeks are very thick. They're around 310 thick, meaning that no standard ammo can pen it. The hatch on the roof is really just not a weak spot apart from that little bar there. You can see why this tank is so strong. There is one weak spot though. It's only good at fighting one opponent at a time, because if you do over-angle the turret, it becomes very, very easy to rip apart. Now the enemy team has one of the biggest super heavy destroyers in general, 183s, and they have two of them. I still just hate fighting 183s in general. They kind of ruin a lot of the fun of the game because they can just HE the front of this tank for 500, which negates the point of armor, but hopefully that will not happen in this game. What does their team have? They got a Sheridan, 50 TP, and an M103, and a 60 TP. We do have better tank destroyers in general because we don't have an extra 183, so we got a Foch and a Hori, but we're going to have to see how this works out. We will definitely have to see. Where is our Foch? All the way in the back. Okay. I'm just going to keep on pushing in. When you spawn on this side of Port Bay, you actually have an advantage over the other side. But weirdly enough, the enemy team's capturing base A. I'm trying to figure out who would capture base A. But, yeah, I don't know what our Hori's doing either way, front-lining up there. What's up with Tank Destroyers front-lining today? Our 4005 on dead rail front-lined, and now we got our... I'm just losing my mind. Either way, we got the grill off to the side, and what we're going to do here is try and get into a side-scraping position, but, yeah, actually we did get the bounce. I was going to say, but the grill's probably just going to try and shoot us in the lower plate, but, yeah, we actually got the bounce. Nice. Okay, let's keep on pushing up. We know where the Sheridan is, and we got the 183s both over here, which is just easy for me. So let's just get a shell into the side of this 183. There you go. Nice shot for 512. Hurry, if you want to get past me, you can just turn your tank. All right, let's keep on going towards the other 183. Here he is. Hello, good sir. How are you doing? I'm going to get one shell. I was going to say through the barn, but it's fine. 183 just fired, which means we can just easily push on his tank. Let's get one nice pen. A little bit of a love that tap there as well. That's an extra 100 damage to add to our game. And that's another 17. I'll take it. It's a little bit of ramming damage. And now I'm just going to finish off the 183 and continue pushing. We might have to do a second battle in this tank as well, because, again, teams just... This is Blitz nowadays. You never understand what is going on in these battles, but maybe we'll be able to showcase the armor against the 60 TP and the 50 over here. Let's keep pushing over towards the heavy side of the map again. Now, the enemy team does have a Sheridan, and we're going to aim in a shell onto that M103. There you go. Nice pen. You can see where that 289 millimeters of standard pen is just fantastic on this vehicle, able to butter through that M103 with no problem whatsoever. So here is the 60 TP. Very strong tank, especially when hull down. Could you please, sir? All right, well, let's get a shell still into the 60, but yeah, let's push past. There you go, nice shot from our M103. That guy just lost a huge chunk of damage, though. Let's keep on pushing up. This guy is going to be absolutely buttered through, and boop, there you go. Nice shot into the 60 TP, and he is cleared. All right, now we're just going to continue on pushing up towards the 50 TP. Now, as I said, our lower plate is a weak spot, but if you angle the tank like this, and you manage to use your track as a bit of a buffer so that your lower plate is not hit, then you're completely fine in a tank like this. Let's get another shell into that 50 TP, and now we do one of the deadliest things in the game with a VK90. You face hug. In a face hug, this tank is almost impossible to pen, unless, of course, I do showcase my lower plate, but it's just almost impossible to pen in a face hug. It's great because of that. And this battle was a pretty good one at that. We were able to get, I would guess, around 4,000 damage out. We will do one more game after this just because of how quick this battle ended. And we didn't really get to showcase the armor. This was just more of Driving Simulator 2022. But yeah, what a good battle for the VK90. Able to showcase the gun. It is a fantastic gun on the tank. And there you go, 4,667 damage. Probably not a mastery or anything like that. Yeah, second class. It's just such a well-performing vehicle. So let's do one more battle. See if we can do a bit better this time. But yeah. As you saw a little bit of in the first battle, when I side scrape against that grill, we got a bounce. When I pulled out correctly against that 50 TP, we were able to get a bounce. The VK90, if I go back to the armor profile, has some incredibly troll tracks. These tracks are very hard to penetrate. Even at an angle like this, you can see they're really thick. So if you angle this tank correctly, and you are able to bait your track to bounce a shell, it almost always works, and it's very, very hard to cut through the tracks on the VK90. Now, this is a pretty solid map for us. We are on... what is this? Falls Creek. And Falls Creek is great because I can side scrape up towards C and hopefully do my job. Now, what does the enemy team have and what do we have? We have an Object 140. They have a T100 LT and a 62A. So, right off the bat, we are just at a medium disadvantage, and that's really unfortunate because if they win medium side, they have an extremely easy time to win the rest of the battle. There's no way I'm just going to push out in front of a Maus, 268, M6 show, Grill 15, and a 183. That's just the recipe for death. So in this situation here, we are in a very unlucky battle where we just got sort of screwed by the matchmaker. But there you go. Nice shot into the enemy Maus already. You can see this gun with the standard pen doing its job. The 268 is aiming on us, but I'm hoping that our armor should do the trick. And let's aim it on the 268. There you go. Nice pen right onto his vehicle. Nice shot. And then we just reload again. This is where the VK90 is just a fantastic tank. You just side scrape and you can do your job. So let's aim it on that Maus's turret cheek again. Oh, bit of a miss there. But it's all good because we are just chilling here using our armor. Now our 268 V4 is struggling a little bit, I would say. But I'm just going to chill here. I don't... Yeah, it's just the problem on medium side right now. I'm gonna... Oh boy, our Yag is getting nuked. I'm gonna try and help out... Oh wait, no, our U100's helping out the mediums. Okay, then I'm not going to. Well, let's see what I can do here. Just trying to think of what I should do here because of our team in this situation. Let's load a premium shell and miss the 268. Not amazing dispersion on this vehicle. It's decent, but nothing amazing. And our 268 V4 has now lost a massive chunk of his health. Let's aim in on this 268. Let's load in a premium shell. We did pen it, but we also got hit by that grill right in the lower plate. But good news is that it looks like medium side, we are actually possibly winning. So that's good news. If we can end up winning medium side, we do have a much higher advantage in this game. So we got the grill off to the side, but we also got the 268. So I'm being very, very cautious. Let's get a nice shot into that grill. There you go. And back into my side scraping position. Oh, but our 57 heavy. Everybody on this team is just losing so much HP. Oh, this is not good. All right, well, we got the Maus over here, and let's aim in. Another miss. It's just Sag moments. But we're doing our job here. We're side scraping to the strongest of our capabilities. There you go. Nice heat shell bounce from that enemy 268. Let's aim in right on his lower weak spot. There you go. We also got a bounce from the Maus. We're doing our job. We are definitely doing our job here. We're getting bounces. We're side scraping well. Let's just reload again, and let's aim in. Well, we can get maybe a shell into that 268, and then let's just pull forwards. Nice. Okay. We're doing good. More bounces from the Maus, and that T100 LT actually looks like he is going to be cleared. This is great news so far. We have definitely done our job, but oh no. T100 LT did end up clearing what was our 140, which is just bad news because now we are in the situation where we have no mobility. All right, well, there you go. We did manage to clear their 183. This is good. And you can see again, I mean, we've been doing a fantastic job in this battle on side scraping. We still have 1,800 hit points left, but there went another tank on our team. We got the Maus off to the side. I want to shoot him in that lower plate, but we really can't. There you go. Nice tap right into the turret weak spot. We've been able to bring that Maus just down a little bit more, but oh boy, there's our team losing more health. I'm going to aim in here. There's the grill. Let's get a shell into that grill. Let's try and angle it, but oh, he rolls 700. That is not what you want to see. The enemy team is raking the damage numbers out here at this point. Now, we do have that grill. If he pokes, which it looks like he might, we'll take a blind shot right at that bush. I'm hoping that did end up penetrating. We are up on base cap. That is a big advantage we have right now. But it won't last forever because, as you can see, that Maus is YOLOing straight into the base. So, got to figure out what we're going to do here. We do have the go off to the side. I need our E100 to do something. Okay, there's the grill. We did actually end up hitting the grill with our blind shot, which is great news. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to push right onto the rear of that Maus, get a penetrating shell into his tank. And honestly, I'm just going to distract. Hopefully this 57 heavy takes good advantage of this, because I'm just going to face hug this guy. This is where the Maus is just going to fall apart compared to the VK90 is in a face hug like this. We are just so much stronger. So there you go. Come on, 57. Do something, my guy. You need to just pen him. There you go. Nice pen once. Let's load on a premium shell. There you have it. And now we are up in base cap. Sure, T100 shooting me, but that's not a big threat for me because we are still way up on hit points. So let's push on this grill. We do have that 10 degrees of gun depression, as I said, and I mean, I just need to push on the girl. That's all I need to do. And if we clear him, we win this battle. This girl's been annoying the entire game. He's taken off a pretty decent chunk of our HP. So, yeah, let's just finish him off. It's impossible for him to one-shot us. And there you go. Easy clear. And that's it. 1,000 on the base cap. So, this was a challenging battle. And this was a perfect example to showcase the VK90 in all of its glory. It is a fantastic side scraper. We were able to block 2,700 side scraping and deal 5,850 damage. It's actually ridiculous that we didn't master that game because we were the single-handed reason why we won that. The Jagdpanzer, the E3, the 268 version 4 on our team, even the E100 all fell apart, but I will give the E100 credit. He did clear the 140 or the 62A with the 140 on our team. But definitely, our 140 should not have died to that T100. Would have been a much easier win. Either way, this was a perfect battle to showcase everything you needed to know about the VK90. And yeah, I mean, just what a powerful tank, right? So now we got two more vehicles left. We got the VK4502B and the Maushen. Now, the VK4502B is literally just the VK90 at tier 9. It's got similar armor. It's got similar side-scraping capabilities. I mean, I'll break into the armor profile really quick. This is the VK90. And when we break in the tier 9, this is the VK45. I mean, look at the similarities. It's almost the same. So you got a very strong upper plate, which on flat ground is pretty good. I mean, sure, heat shells from a Kron can pen it, but if you're in an average tier 9 heavy, you're not going to pen that upper plate, especially if you're using the gun depression. So very solid in that aspect. It does have 8 degrees over the side, which makes it very flexible. And as you can see, its side scraping capabilities are very solid. The VK45 also carries the same gun as most German super heavies, even in tier 10. So it's got 460 standard damage. It's got 330-ish premium pen. Very solid when it comes to the gun. Now, what does their team have? They got an IS-3 Defender, and that's actually all they got for heavies. Trying to think of what I want to do here. Oh no, they also have a T2020. I do have the Waffle supporting me, and I also got an ISU going this way, so I'm not going to ditch my two teammates. We're just going to find out what happens in this battle. I have no clue. This is just a weird lineup. Okay, if their IS-3 Defender spotted over there, then I would expect most of their team to be. So I'm going to start heading over towards base B, and then we're going to cut through into base A, sort of. So we're going to see how that works out, but here we go. Using the mobility. What do we have? We got the Chimera all the way up top, aiming, and fire. Oh, you just ripped me off, Wargaming. That was one of the... Oh, I didn't realize I had tungsten on. I thought I was running adrenaline on this tank. Oh, well, it's fine. We might be able to get an HE onto this bat chat still, and if we hit this... Oh, well, it's not going to be an HE, but that's still a very, very girthy tip with a tungsten shell into that opponent, and with that, that's definitely going to help out the team. All right, well, you can see we're just working this position pretty well so far. Let's aim in on this, you know, let's go for the Chimera. There you go. Another tungsten shell into that player as well. That's just where tungsten feels great with this tank, is being able to absolutely slap a huge chunk into the opponents. There you go. Nice bounce from the enemy there. That's the perfect example of my perfect upper plate working well. So what are we going to do here? We got the T2020 off to the side. We got the Chimera over here as well, and we got the Waffenträger. If I'm going to work this situation right now, we're going to aim in on the side of this T2020. Let's get a nice pen. Let's wiggle it. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nice. Right into my track wheel again. That's exactly what we want, and that Waffle was just dunked out of existence by my teammates. So this is going pretty decent. Here we go. We got the T2020 again. Let's get a nice shell into his tank. Let's make sure that he can't penetrate our sides, as you can see. And now I face hug. Rear turreted tanks like this are really solid at face hugging, because frontally, my only weak spot is my lower plate. So if I hide that lower plate, where's this guy going to shoot me? There you go. I mean, that's just what you do in these types of tanks, is you just do a great job frontally face hugging. Now, if you do face hug against vehicles like an E5 that have very, very good pen, you're going to struggle, because obviously they can butter straight through your armor. But yeah, definitely for a vehicle like the VK45, very, very solid at just face hugging. Nice pen into the IS-3 Defender. 8 more seconds left. We'll have another shell ready. And yeah, this will be a pretty decent battle. Let's see what we can do here. So there's the IS-3 Defender. Not really sure what he's doing apart from losing all of his health. And I don't really know where the rest of the enemy team is. There's the STG, although the IS-3 Defender might actually be able to clear our ISU-152. Oh, he did. That's not good. All right, well, there's the Chimera. A goodbye. Nice. This STG will not pen me frontally, because, again, great armor on this tank, especially up against tier 8 opponents. And this STG is just in a very, very poor situation. That's 145 damage for us right there. Let's keep this HE loaded. I want to pen it. Come on, give me your side. Ah, it's fine. I'll take a 5-7 E75. I really wanted to penetrate with a max roll there on HE, but we got it out, and that was a pretty good battle. We were able to showcase, again, just a very similar playstyle to the VK90. Use your tracks, hide your lower plate, and you'll do fine. And there you go, 3,500 damage dealt and 2,380 blocked. So let's get into the final battle, hopefully for today, the Maushen. Now, the Maushen is literally just a mouse. I mean, you can see it. It's got the same gun as a mouse, very similar DPM. It's just like 300 less, which makes sense. It is a tier lower, but its dispersion is actually better, weirdly enough, 0.344. But it's got very good pen, 327, 258. And if we take a look at the mouse, 357, or not 357, 258 and 327. So very similar pen. Overall, very, very similar tanks. When we take a look at the armor profile really, really quickly, because I think we might be loading into a battle. If we take a look at the armor of the Maushen, you'll notice very similar to a mouse. Zipper plates, 330 thick on flat ground, 340, 350. Side scraping is a little bit weaker, but overall still very good, and it's got very weak turret cheeks if you know where to penetrate them. Just thought I'd do that very quickly because we did load into a battle almost instantly. But yeah, the Maushen is basically just a mouse at tier 9, but it is an incredibly powerful tank because of how many hit points it has. You have 2,544 hit points in this vehicle, which means you can just absolutely eat shell after shell after shell and not care. Plus the fact that you've got 460 alpha in tier 9 and a very nice gun in general. Got good dispersion, good on-movement dispersion values. I mean, look at how accurate the gun is on the move. It's a tank you really don't want to mess with. A lot of people don't do well in it because they don't understand how to play it, but it's literally just a mouse. That's its simple play style. So I'm going to push in the base B. I think this is yes, and we're going to capture it. And then I'm going to drive straight up and over towards A. That's going to be my my driving in this game. So all my mediums have to do is hold off for a teeny bit. Unfortunately, the rest of my team went this way as well. But yeah, I'm driving straight up, and we're going to see how this works. Now, the Maushen does fall apart when you've got big ol' alpha aiming at your side. But as we can see, it looks like the enemy E75 and Waffenträger pushed to the wrong side of the map. I don't actually know why our mediums are dying so much, judging that they have tier 8s and we've got tier 9 mediums. I don't even know what's killing them. But either way, let's push up here. We got the IS-2, who we unfortunately missed, but let's keep going. Oh, wow, yeah, our mediums are just taking L. That's incredible, too. It's actually surprising to me that our mediums are losing this situation. It's not like they're really outnumbered here. So let's get a shell into the progetto. There you go, nice tap for 502. And let's just keep pushing up. This is where the Maushen just feels so powerful, is against mediums that have no clue what to do. They have no clue what to do. So we're going to push right onto this Barask. Here we go. Let's aim in and... couldn't get that shell out. Unfortunate, but it's fine. We're just going to turn towards the progetto. Let's give this guy a little bit of a love tap. There you go. Bye-bye, progetto. And now we're just going to back up. There you go. Nice. And let's continue pushing. Hello, IS-2. How you doing, good sir? You are not going to be doing very well very shortly. Our Tiger 2, what are you doing, Tiger? I'm actually surprised. Our Tiger is losing to a Barask. Interesting. All right, well, let's finish off. Well, that actually works too. Barask, boop. There you go. Nice shell finishing off the boss shot on Barask. And with that, we're doing okay in this game. I mean, we still got a lot of hit points left. This Pantera literally can't do anything to me. This Waffle, even if he pens me, there you go. It's 500 hit points we lose, and we got so much HP left. There you go. Finish off that enemy. We got the K91 left, who is going to heat through me. In this situation, we're not up on hit points. We're actually down on hit points. So I'm just going to sit here. We're going to capture this base. Here you go. I do want to cap this base. I think that's very important in this this current game. Let's get a nice pen onto that E75, and just trying to think of what I want to do. I think right now the best decision for me is going to be to push on this E75, because if everybody on this team can clear him, then there's no more E75 to deal with. So let's load a premium shell right onto his upper plate. Let's keep on speeding along. Let's give him a bit of a love tap here. There you go. Nice. And okay. Perfect. So all our 31er has to do is push onto his side, get one connecting shell. Oh my god, he's terrible. Oh my god. Well, we're not going to win this. I do not know what to say. I mean, this could have been a very easy win, but unfortunately the team blew a pretty easy dub. So let's get a pen onto the E75's lower plate. You can see the Waffle went through our lower plate as well. And yeah, this is just Blitz. This is just what happens in Blitz, is when your team doesn't know what to do, they fall apart, and there you have it. So Let's try and penetrate an HE maybe onto this waffle, and boop, there you go, nice HE. We did our job, and he probably, yeah, he heated through our side. But not a bad battle at all. We were still able to deal over 3,000 damage. And, yeah, I mean, the Maushen did its job this game. We drove, we did the work we needed to. Unfortunately, our mediums just, yeah, I mean, you can see the battle results here. Our TS5 did decent, but everybody else in the team and for this final battle just unfortunately completely fell apart. And that's, ooh. Yeah, that's, oh, yeah, that's not what you want for a battle. So, oh well. Either way, I think we did a pretty solid job for these games. That was our only defeat out of the entire bunch. So, there you have it. This is rear-turreted heavies, or in other words, reverse Germans. A very long video, but hopefully you learned a thing or two about how to play these tanks. If you'd like to see more content like this in the future on other types of playstyles, let me know. But other than that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.